All right, so are you ready to dive deep?
Always. What do we got today?
Today it's Make Your Bed by Admiral William H. McRaven.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, I've heard of this one.
So, as you may or may not know, McRaven was a Navy SEAL,
Yeah, right. Pretty intense background.
and he was commander of U.S. Special Operations.
Okay, so we're talking serious leadership experience here.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and in his book, he shares all these lessons he learned.
From his time in the military.
Yeah, but it's not just for, military folks.
Right, it's about life in general.
Exactly, like how to face challenges, overcome obstacles, achieve success.
That makes sense. I mean, those are universal themes.
Okay, so the book starts with this kind of crazy story.
Okay, lay it on me.
So every morning in SEAL training, they had to make their beds
Perfectly.
perfectly, like hospital corners, the whole 9 yards.
I can barely get my own bed made in the morning.
Well, these guys were inspected, like seriously inspected.
No way.
Yeah, the instructors would use a quarter
A quarter. What for?
to check if the bed was tight enough to bounce a coin off of it.
You're kidding me.
Nope. And if it wasn't,
What happened then?
sugar cookie time.
Sugar cookie. What's that? Some kind of sweet treat.
Not even close. It meant diving into the ocean
Oh, no.
and then rolling around in the sand until you're covered head to toe.
Ouch. That sounds brutal.
Yeah. Not exactly the reward for messy sheets, right?
So what's the point of all this? What does making your bed have to do with being a SEAL?
Well, McRaven says it's all about disciplined attention to detail.
Even in a chaotic environment.
Exactly. Like SEAL training is all about pushing your limits.
Right. Being under pressure constantly.
And in that kind of setting, even a small act of order can make a difference.
So it's like a psychological thing.
I think so. It's about creating a sense of control when everything else feels out of control.
An accomplishment too, right?
Oh, yeah. Even if the rest of your day is a total disaster.
You can look back and say, hey, at least I made my bed.
Exactly. It's like a small win that sets you up for success.
You know, there's actually research that backs this up.
Oh.
Yeah. Studies have shown that achieving small wins early in the day.
Can actually boost your mood and motivation for the rest of the day.
Exactly. It's like a domino effect. You start with one small positive action.
And it creates momentum for more positive actions.
It's pretty powerful stuff.
And McRaven even talks about how he made his bed.
While recovering from a parachute accident.
Yep, even when he was seriously injured.
Wow. That's commitment.
He said it helped him maintain a sense of normalcy and purpose.
When things were tough.
Yeah, it's almost like a metaphor for life, isn't it?
Totally. Like even when everything's falling apart around you.
You can choose to focus on the things you can control.
And create a foundation for moving forward.
It's like that old saying, one step at a time.
Right. And starting your day with a win, however small, sets the tone.
For tackling those bigger challenges.
Yeah, it's about building momentum, establishing a sense of agency.
And reminding yourself that you have the power to create order.
Even in the midst of chaos. I love that.
Me too. Okay, so moving on to lesson 2.
Hit me with it.
You can't go it alone.
Okay, that's a good one.
And McRaven uses this image of a 10-foot rubber raft.
A raft.
Yeah, to illustrate this point during SEAL training.
They had to carry it everywhere.
Everywhere. Running, doing exercises, always as a team.
Oh, man, that sounds heavy.
It was. And the point is,
Sometimes you're going to be the one carrying the weight.
and other times you're going to need your team to carry you.
It makes sense. You can't always be the strong one.
And McRaven connects this back to his own experience.
With the parachute accident.
Yeah, he couldn't have gotten through it without the support of his wife.
And colleagues.
They were his boat crew, literally and figuratively.
I love that analogy.
Me too.
Hmm.
And it really resonates with a lot of research on resilience.
Oh, yeah, totally. Social support is critical when you're dealing with challenges.
It's not just about practical help either,
Right. It's about having people who believe in you.
and can offer encouragement when you need it most.
It's like having your own personal cheering squad.
Exactly. It makes you think about who your boat crew is, right?
Yeah, who are the people you can rely on when things get tough?
And just as importantly, who are you showing up for in their moments of need?
It's a two-way street for sure.
It's a powerful reminder that we're all interconnected.
And our ability to thrive depends on the strength of our relationships.
Okay, ready for lesson 3?
Bring it on.
This one's called Only the Size of Your Heart Matters.
Oh, I like that one already.
McRaven tells this story about a small seaman recruit.
Who wanted to be a SEAL?
Yeah, but everyone told him he was too small.
That's tough.
But this guy was determined.
So he proved them wrong.
He sure did. He didn't let anyone's doubts hold him back.
Classic underdog story.
And it reminds me of how McRaven himself initially misjudged Tom Norris,
Who's Tom Norris?
a Medal of Honor recipient. Incredibly brave guy.
What'd he do?
He rescued 2 downed airmen from deep behind enemy lines
Wow.
after being shot in the face and left for dead on another mission.
Oh my goodness.
And you know what's crazy? He was actually told he wasn't SEAL material.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But he went on to pull off some of the most daring missions imaginable.
That's incredible.
And the point of both these stories is that we shouldn't judge a book by its cover.
Right. We tend to equate physical stature with strength and capability.
But true strength comes from somewhere else entirely.
It's about grit determination, that unwavering belief in yourself.
Even when everyone else doubts you.
Yeah, it's about that fire in your belly that drives you to achieve something great.
Okay, ready for another one?
Absolutely. Let's hear it.
This one's a bit of a reality check. Life's not fair drive on.
Yeah. It's a tough one to swallow sometimes.
And to illustrate this, McRaven brings back the sugar cookie.
Oh man, the sandy roll in the surf we were just talking about.
The one and only. But here's the thing.
What's that?
A lot of times they're made into sugar cookies for seemingly random reasons.
Like, what do you mean?
There was no logic to it, no clear violation of the rules, just bad luck.
Oh, wow. So it was like life just throwing them a curveball.
Exactly, and that was the point.
To teach them that life isn't always fair.
Yep, and that you can't let those moments of unfairness define you.
Okay, I see what he's getting at.
It's about dusting yourself off and moving forward.
No matter what.
And McRaven shares this powerful story about Moki Martin.
Who's he?
He was a SEAL instructor who became paralyzed in a bicycle accident.
Oh gosh, that's awful.
A totally unfair twist of fate. But here's the thing.
What's that?
Martin refused to be defined for this tragedy.
That's incredible.
He became an accomplished painter, a devoted father,
Wow.
and he even founded a triathlon.
So he turned his experience into something positive.
Exactly. He turned it into a testament to the human spirit.
Our ability to adapt and find meaning even in the face of loss.
It's about recognizing that we don't get to choose our circumstances.
But we do get to choose our attitude.
We can choose bitterness or resilience.
And a determination to make the best of what we have.
It's a powerful message about the power of choice.
Absolutely. It's about shifting our focus from why me to what now.
And finding that strength to keep moving forward, no matter what life throws at us.
I love that perspective.
Me too. It's a game changer for sure.
And this next lesson is a big one. It's about how failure can make you stronger.
You know what they say, what doesn't kill you?
Makes you stronger. Exactly. McRaven talks about this thing in SEAL training.
Called the circus.
Right. I remember you mentioning this.
Yeah, basically extra calisthenics for anyone who didn't meet the standards.
Oof, that sounds rough.
It was no joke, but McRaven says that even the circus had a purpose.
How so?
Well, he and his swim buddy, Mark Thomas, kept ending up there.
Really? What for?
They struggled with those long-distance swims.
Ah, I see. But instead of breaking them, it actually made them stronger.
Exactly. They used those failures as motivation.
So push harder.
And they embraced the extra training.
Even though it was brutal.
Yeah, and they ended up exceeding everyone's expectations.
Wow, what a turnaround.
Remember that 5-mile swim off San Clemente Island?
The one they had to do in the middle of the night?
That's the one they were the first pair to finish.
Leaving everyone else in their wake.
It's a perfect example of how failure can actually lead to success.
If you have the right mindset.
It's about viewing failure as an opportunity for growth and development.
Not a setback.
And McRaven even shares a personal story about being relieved of command.
Wow, that must have been tough.
It was a major failure at the time, but instead of letting it define him
He used it as motivation to learn and grow.
and ultimately become a better leader,
Yeah.
he realized that failure can be a valuable teacher.
It's all about perspective, right?
Exactly. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about how we respond to it.
Do we let it defeat us, or do we use it as fuel to become stronger?
Okay, moving on to a lesson that's a little more adrenaline pumping.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
This one is you must dare greatly.
I like the sound of that already.
McRaven talks about this obstacle called the slide for life.
What's that?
Picture a 100-foot rope suspended 30 feet in the air.
And you have to slide down it.
Head first.
Yikes, that
Well,
sounds terrifying.
It was. And initially, McRaven opted for the slower, safer method.
Understandable.
But then a veteran SEAL challenged him.
What did he say?
When are you going to learn, Mr. Mac? That obstacle course is going to beat you every time unless you start taking some risks.
Wow, that's some tough love.
But it stuck with him.
Yeah, sometimes we need that push to step outside our comfort zones.
It's about not letting fear hold you back from reaching your full potential.
And McRaven connects this to the say motto, "Who dares wins."
Which is pretty fitting considering that motto was quoted to the SEAL team.
Before the bin Laden raid.
Talk about a high-stakes mission.
It just goes to show that courage and calculated risk-taking are essential.
For achieving anything extraordinary.
Whether it's launching a business, asking someone out on a date,
Or pursuing a creative passion.
it's often in those moments when we dare greatly that we discover what we're truly capable of.
Speaking of courage, the next lesson is stand up to the bullies.
Oh, that's a good one. I think we can all relate to that in some way.
McRaven starts with this vivid image of a night swim.
In shark-infested waters.
The SEAL instructors really knew how to push their limits.
Talk about facing your fears head-on.
But there's a deeper point here. It's about recognizing that fear can paralyze us.
And bullies like sharks can sense that fear.
He then draws this fascinating comparison between bullies and Saddam Hussein.
Saddam Hussein, the dictator.
The one and only, even after being captured, he tried to intimidate Iraqi leaders.
And they were still terrified of him.
It just shows how bullies, even when stripped of their power,
Can maintain a psychological hold over others.
But McRaven made sure to show Saddam that his reign of terror was over.
He was no longer a threat.
Exactly. It's a powerful message about the importance of standing up to bullies,
In all their forms.
whether it's a schoolyard bully or a tyrannical dictator.
Courage in the face of intimidation is crucial.
We need to remember that bullies often thrive on silence and inaction.
It's when we find our voice and stand up for what's right that their power diminishes.
Okay, on to the next lesson. Rise to the occasion.
Okay, what's this one about?
McRaven uses two very different scenarios to illustrate this concept.
I'm listening.
First, he describes the intense and potentially deadly night dive in SEAL training.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading about that.
Imagine navigating murky waters, finding your target,
And planting a practice mine.
all while knowing that any mistake could be fatal.
Ooh, talk about pressure.
But then he contrasts this with a very different kind of darkness.
What's that?
The solemn ramp ceremonies for fallen soldiers.
Oh, wow, that's powerful.
Those ceremonies are incredibly moving tributes to sacrifice and honor,
And what he's getting at is that even in the darkest of moments,
whether facing danger or dealing with loss,
we can find a way to come together, support each other.
and display incredible strength and resilience.
He shares some really powerful anecdotes of individuals displaying that strength.
Like the twin brother of a fallen soldier who comforted his brother's friends,
And held his family together.
or the airman who lost comrades in a helicopter crash.
But returned to the skies the next day to continue the mission.
It's a testament to the human spirit.
And our capacity to find courage and resilience even in the face of unimaginable loss.
And it reinforces the idea that even in those dark moments, we have a choice.
To succumb to despair or rise to the occasion.
And honor the memory of those we've lost by continuing to live with purpose and meaning.
Okay, I'm ready for the next one. What else does McRaven have for us?
This one really resonated with me. Give people hope.
Okay, I'm all ears.
McRaven describes another brutal experience during Hell Week.
Oh no, not another one.
This one's called the Mud Flats.
Mud flats, what are those?
Imagine being chest deep in freezing mud for hours.
No way.
Oh yeah, with the wind whipping at you and instructors relentlessly pushing you to quit.
I remember they're sleep deprived and physically exhausted at this point.
It sounds absolutely miserable.
It was, but then one student starts singing.
On the mud.
Yep, a raspy, out-of-tune song, but it spreads through the
So
ranks.
the instructors can't stop them.
It becomes this defiant act of hope.
A reminder that even in the darkest moments, we have the power to lift each other up.
I love that.
Me too. And he then connects this to a very different experience.
What's that?
Comforting families at Dover Air Force Base after the loss of 38 service members.
In a helicopter crash.
That must have been heartbreaking.
It was, and he talks about how General John Kelly, who had himself lost a son in combat.
Offered comfort and hope to those grieving families.
His presence must have meant so much to them.
It did. It highlights the profound impact of empathy and shared experience.
Especially in times of immense grief.
Kelly's words, his understanding, his presence, they all offered a sense of hope.
A reminder that they weren't alone in their pain.
It speaks to the power of compassion and the importance of offering support and encouragement.
To those who are struggling, especially when we've walked a similar path. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here, but McRaven saves the best for last.
What's that?
His final lesson, it's the one that ties everything together.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
It's never, ever quit.
Powerful stuff.
He brings it home with this image of the iconic bell in SEAL training.
Oh yeah, the one you ring if you want to quit.
Exactly the easy way out. But McRaven makes it clear quitting never makes anything easier.
It just delays the inevitable confrontation with your own limitations.
Right, and he shares a story to drive this point home.
What's the story?
It's about a young Army Ranger named Adam Bates who lost both legs in Afghanistan.
Oh wow, that's awful.
He stepped on a mine just 19 years old, and his life changed in an instant.
I can't even imagine.
McRaven visited him in the hospital and honestly felt a wave of pity.
That's a natural human reaction.
But Bates, unable to speak at the time, signed these words, "I will be okay."
Wow, that's powerful.
And he meant it. McRaven later saw him at a Ranger event standing tall on prosthetic legs,
No way.
challenging his comrades to a pull-up contest.
That's incredible.
He never gave up on himself or his dreams.
Bates' story is truly inspiring.
It embodies the spirit of make your bed perfectly. It's about digging deep, finding that inner strength.
And refusing to let circumstances dictate your spirit.
So what does all this mean for us?
Yeah, what's the big takeaway from Make Your Bed?
It's a blueprint for building resilience, embracing challenges, creating a life of purpose.
Starting with small acts of discipline, like making your bed every morning.
It's about taking ownership of your day, creating a foundation for bigger wins.
And it's about finding your boat crew, those people who'll support you through thick and thin.
It's also about recognizing that true strength comes from the size of your heart.
Your determination, your willingness to never give up.
We've learned about embracing failure, daring greatly, standing up to bullies.
Rising to the occasion, offering hope to others.
It's about realizing that we all have that bell within us.
The temptation to quit.
But the real challenge is to resist that temptation, to keep fighting, to keep pushing forward.
To never ever ring the bell.
What an incredible deep dive into Make Your Bed.
Thanks for joining us.